The Virtue of Negativity speaks. Episode 11. Negativity, pessimism, bias, discrimination, and hate are all examples of words that we, as civilized humans, have come to the shared expectation that are feelings and behaviors that are not considered acceptable. However, in the right context, in the right balance, they're necessary, valuable skills and mindset when moving forward through life experiences. In fact, they are the very byproduct of learning, retention, and confidence in the efficacy of knowledge that you have obtained. In fact, whether you realize it or not, it is the standard, not the exception mindset of almost all people, even if you identify as optimistic. Optimism does not negate this standard either, the standard being quote unquote no. So for example, if I were to ask you to buy something sight unseen without understanding what my product does or how it's used, your standard default answer is no. It is not in our nature to potentially reduce our resources in order to trade for other resources without knowing context first. As an optimist, you could approach a new, understood situation and with that optimism, move forward on a decision with less positive evidence than a pessimist. But it still would be in the context of at least understanding the premise by which the new situation operates. Most people, both optimists and pessimists, would agree that blindly risking resources in exchange for a new situation without any context would be considered foolish. It is inherent negativity that keeps us alive. The inverse of acceptance is the balance needed to walk a defined path. Consider that it is okay to hate evil. It is okay to discriminate against the wrong choice. It's okay to be pessimistic about an option with a forecast of low statistical success. It's okay to be negative about the choice that opens you and your loved ones to harm. You are okay to have bias towards the evidence that supports your understanding of how to move forward. Negative thinking is about rejecting inaccuracy so that you can make decisions based on what is rather than what is false. There could only be inches between a sidewalk and a busy highway. Rejecting a walk on a dangerous intersection is your healthy decision to discriminate towards a safe experience. Which brings me to the dangers of turning off the warning alarms. Some societies can place programming such that it will condition you to ignore pattern recognition. In such cases, it is a very effective tool by a power manipulator to dull or ignore natural pattern recognition in order to create an accepting social sentiment of dangerous or destructive ideas or physical threats. The blind acceptance can be to the detriment of the individual or the society and can pave the way for the power manipulators to achieve certain conditions that favor themselves. In this way, the dulling of pattern recognition, danger, bias, and strong feelings of rejection are in many ways mirroring the immune system deficiency virus that we as humans can be infected by. In that analogy, society is an organism. It creates a sense of identity and homogeny. Its defined community, its defined way of speaking or language, its norms and its values are well documented and shared by like-minded persons, all the way down to the individual, who is a product of that society and defined culture. On the macro level, turning off the mechanisms in that society that keep those variables in place and inhibiting the replication of those defining social factors to subsequent new generations inevitably lead to the dissolution of that society. On the individual level, it disconnects that person from their source, society, and all of the generational learned and passed down benefits that come from that source. Some of those benefits being survival and the unnecessary suffering of decisions that lead to suffering. Wisdom is the software of process that mitigates suffering, usually because an individual's trial and error or passed down from someone hoping to prevent the next generation from experiencing hardship. Over time, generation by generation, the wisdom and the quote-unquote why become disconnected. Power manipulators take advantage of that vulnerability. As you may know, it's not the HIV that kills a person, but rather the smaller infection or cancer that invades the body. Absent of defenses, disease is allowed to run rampant and unchecked, destroying what it will, unfettered. If your defenses are strong in the form of hate for evil, bias towards truth, discrimination of what is good, then your emotional and social immune system will be strong. When society is sick, its logic is sick. When the mind is sick, the decision-making is sick. The interpretation of circumstances is not accurate. The conclusions of a sick mind lack the accuracy to give real and valuable feedback. I would say that you will find in a diseased world, it will be the infected that will call the healthy sick.